Hi, and welcome to this week's general love reading for June 14th, 2019. Now, it doesn't have to be June 14th, 2019 in order for you to get something out of this reading. What we're going to be doing is look at the next 7 days in your love life, and we're looking for themes, dynamics, what to expect, and hopefully we'll be able to make some predictions, okay? So that said, each pile has a colored heart next to it. I don't know if you can see that these are actually heart stones or not, but yeah, that they're shaped as hearts. Anyway, yeah, every pile has a stone on it, and I'm going to go ahead and name the piles. And what you need to do is just pick the pile that resonates with you the most. It might be the number, it might be the stone, it can be anything. Just however you pick your pile, go ahead and do that. There's no right or wrong way, okay? So, pile number 1 is the purple fluorite heart. Pile number 2 is the pink rose quartz heart. Pile number 3 is the black obsidian heart. Pile number 4 is the white opalite heart. Pile number 5 is the blue lapis lazuli. And pile number 6 is the bloodstone heart. All right, guys, so as you guys are thinking about which pile to pick, I do want to say, as always, everything you need to know about me is in that description. So that includes, how to book a reading with me, how to get a hold of me, all that good stuff. I don't want to waste your time going through all of it. So we are going to go ahead and start with a reading with pile number 1. And if you have not picked your cards yet, go ahead and pause the video so that you can go ahead and make a pick. All right? Okay, guys. So I want to thank you all for all of the new subscribers and the comments and the likes and all of that good stuff. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And if you enjoy this reading, let me know by hitting the like button or by leaving me a comment. Or both, just whatever. And for those of you who aren't subscribers, just know that I do put these out very regularly. So if you would like to see more videos that are pick a card, go ahead and subscribe. All right, pile number 1, the purple fluorite heart. Here is your reading. We've got the Ace of Swords, the King of Wands, Temperance. We have the Stork, followed by the Heart, okay? We have the Arts, and we have Communication. Okay, so it looks like you guys have a pretty interesting love life right now. When you get the Heart in the Lenormand, that's the love card. So not only is your week going to be pretty fortuitous when it comes to love, but it's also, you're supposed to be focusing on love right now. All right, so there's going to be some kind of new communication between the two of you. We have the communication card and we have the Ace of Swords. Swords typically represent communication and thought. They slice through the air, and the air is exactly what we use to communicate, right? So we've got some new communication going on. We have a person. Now, I feel like this is going to be your person. For those of you who picked this pile, this is your person, not you. Becoming a little bit more impassioned. Yes, they're still going to be kind of inhibited or maybe holding back or maybe distance in some areas, but you're going to see a passion or a fire from them that maybe you don't see normally, okay? And then we have Temperance, which is talking about just kind of balancing some things out. So if you felt like the relationship is particularly lopsided lately, thankfully it's going to get balanced out soon, okay? We already talked about the communication, but just, I really want to kind of make sure you guys understand that, this doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to literally talk to the person or that you have to send them an email or a text message or anything like that. What I'm talking about is making certain that when you communicate, that your words are clear, that your intent is like you have intent and purpose to what you're saying. It's it's really important because like right now things are really opening up when it comes to communication. They're receptive, you're receptive, and all of that. So it's both communicating, it's both speaking and listening, is a thing with the communication here. I also want to mention, especially since the arts come up, is that, communication does not have to be just through words. We communicate with our bodies, we can communicate through art, all sorts of things, So do understand that this might be a very good medium to communicate your feelings right now or communicate your thoughts, anything like that. Another way of looking at this is also for those of you who experience a lot of synchronicities, and I'm getting that a lot of you guys do with your person, understand that this is also telling you to pay attention to songs right now, pay attention to song speakers, whatever you hear on the TV. If you keep the TV on and you're just passing by and you hear a few words, pay attention to that kind of stuff because you're getting guidance from that, okay? So that's another way that you can get some good spiritual guidance this week when it comes to your love life, okay? So when we're talking about the stork, and the stork is modified by the heart in Lenormand, and now understand that we're using very basic Lenormand stuff because we are talking about a general reading. The stork typically will talk about either moving, okay, so like moving homes, that kind of thing, or it can be talking about a relationship that's like for life, okay? Storks do mate for life, and that, it might be saying, for example, for some of you, that this is a person you're supposed to be with. So for those of you who are asking that and kind of thinking about that in your head, like, am I supposed to be with this person? At least for this week, yes, this is the person that you're supposed to be focusing on, okay? Another thing about storks is, you can't avoid it. Storks do, bring children. It's associated with children, and when you have that as well as the heart, you guys, if if you want to conceive, it might be a good week too. I'm not a doctor. I cannot tell you, that kind of stuff, and have it be legal. But the cards, show that would be a good time. For those of you who don't want to conceive, just make sure you're really careful, as always, right? And so keep some of that stuff in mind with the move. One thing that can happen with this is maybe your person is going to move away from you, or you're moving away from your person. What this is telling me, especially in context with the other cards, okay, is that it's not going to impact the relationship as much as you might think it will, okay? Again, the communication's key here, and we do have new communication. So if your person is leaving, or needs to move for some reason, understand that it's not going to affect your relationship as strongly as you're imagining it will. Okay, guys? All right. Looks like a really positive week. Hi, those of you who picked the pink rose quartz, here is your reading. So we have the 10 of Wands, we have the Queen of Wands, we have the 7 of Swords, we have the Garden, and we have the Star. All right, Transformation and the Fire Fury. This is about creative action and optimism, okay? And this is from a deck called the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle cards. I don't usually use them very often, but I've just felt called to use them today. So, yeah, the Fire Fairy is all about creative action, just like wands are, basically, right? Okay, so this week for you guys is going to be, for some of you guys, especially those of you who are single, okay, there's going to be some kind of change or shift in your consciousness. And when we have the Garden paired with the Star, and we're doing a love reading, we're talking about maybe meeting somebody in public. I'm sorry, that's upside down. We're talking about maybe meeting somebody in public, okay? The Star has to do with destiny. It has to do with direction, and that kind of thing. But what I'm feeling that this means is that for those of you who are single, this is saying you're probably going to meet somebody this week, okay? For those of you who aren't single, or for those of you who know who you're interested in and all of that, either you're going to see them in public, or it would be a good idea to go out with them sometime this week, okay? I understand that some of you guys can't do that because of your situation. Maybe you're in a long distance relationship, or maybe there's no communication right now. But for those of you who it does apply to, that's what the message is. For those of you who it doesn't apply to, what we're talking about, the universe is working to bring you and your person together. Okay, so do keep that in mind as well. But yeah, this shift in consciousness, this transformation, it's gonna really help you be able to get to another level when you're looking at love and your partner are the person that you're interested in. Okay, so we have 2 wands, we have the fire fairy. You know, this week we're gonna see some action. Okay, so people taking action. This might be yourself, it might be your person. I'm getting that for those of you who pick this pile, that's going to be one or the other. It could even be both. And I'm getting it's pretty 50-50. Okay, so you're going to see basically somebody taking purposeful action. Okay, you might notice that your person has a lot on their mind. Maybe they're a little cranky this week. Maybe they're you know, maybe they're stressed out, that kind of thing. Try not to take that personally. Just know that they have a lot on their mind, or that they're really dealing with something that's kind of big in their life. You know, I'm not getting that it's anything like dangerous or anything like that. I'm just getting that they're dealing with something that's kind of big. That's it's kind of like, oh gosh, I have to mow the lawn, or whatever it is for you guys. Now for me, understand, I live on 5 acres, so that's a big deal. I don't want to make you guys think that I have like a very small lawn and that's like, you know, nothing. But yeah, so, something like that, you know, it's just some task, something that they're burdened with. Maybe some of you guys are interested in somebody who has a test or an exam this week, you know, that kind of thing. Right? The Queen of Wands, her energy is so intense in this reading, okay? And I think that if there is a person involved in this relationship that's going to transform it, because for some of you, it's going to actually be transformation by somebody stepping in and doing something. This would be maybe a mother figure. It could be a sister. It could be a friend or a cousin. And it doesn't even have to be female. It's just it's more feminine, nurturing energy, okay? And we have this person who is like very positive. This person's very intuitive. This person's very fiery, very dynamic. The person might like cats, all right? But this is somebody who pretty much knows what they're talking about, and they see something true in your relationship that maybe you don't. So do pay attention to advice you get right now, okay? So the 7 of Swords. Okay, so let's talk about this. Some of you guys might be in a dynamic where there's another person involved, okay? It happens. No judgment. We're just giving the reading as it's coming through. Just know that that person might be feeling a little bit more alert right now, and as a result, you might want to kind of lay low a little bit if you're in that situation. For those of you who are not in that situation, either your person, you know, there's some other people that are interested in them too. They have other options, basically. Or it just means that, again, this is reiterating what the 10 of Wands is saying, which is like they have a lot of stuff. Because, I mean, look at how many swords this guy has, right? So that's basically, you know, what to expect this week. In general, I feel like this is a positive reading because we have that transformation taking place, okay? This is the only one to look out for, okay? And that's going to be case by case, all right? Not all of you have to worry about this. All right. Okay, hi, those of you who pick the Black Heart, here is your reading. We have the Knight of Wands, we have the Fool, we have the Knight of Cups. We have the Anchor and the Ship. We have Divine Passion and the Frog. This is talking about cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage, okay? So here's the deal, guys. I feel Like, here we've got fire and water with the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups. So you've got a situation where your person is feeling really passionate and your person is feeling really emotional. So this week what you're going to be experiencing is your person coming forward a lot more, telling you how you feel, telling you how they feel with the cups, okay? That's sharing feelings. And with the Knight of Wands, telling you how impassioned they are, okay? So this is going to be a really sweet week, okay? The Fool, we're talking about a new beginning. We're also talking about kind of jumping in and taking a risk. So if you've been waiting for your person to come forward and say something or make some kind of gesture that lets you know that they're interested, this will be a good week for that, okay? So keep that in mind. Also understand that the knights, they tend to be very bold and everything. It might catch you by surprise, okay? If they're coming forward. I'm also getting that for a few of you, this is like 10%, you're the one that's going to be coming forward with your passions and your emotions, and you're going to be the one taking the risk. But for most of you guys, it's going to be your person, okay? With Divine Passion, this is just kind of reiterating that this isn't just any old relationship, okay? Yes, we have passion with the Knight of Wands, but when we have that coupled with Divine Passion, this person is like-minded with you, okay? I hesitate to use words like soulmate because I know that they're very, very charged and people assign a lot of meaning to those, and I don't mean to say that, but it's like there is some kind of soul connection here. There's some kind of divine purpose to your relationship. You guys probably know exactly what I'm saying, what I'm meaning. This person is more than just whatever they are in your life, okay? And they always will be more. There's always going to be something about them that you just can't describe because it's not describable, because it does not exist on the earth plane. It exists in the spiritual plane. So a lot of the passion is inspired passion, okay? When we talk about divinity, we talk about the inspiration. We're talking about how, like, wow, right now is the time to come forward, okay? So again, the timing is really good this week. I really love that you guys got the ship and the anchor. Now, as always, when I get the ship, or there's a couple of other cards that I get, it does indicate long distance relationships. So for those of you who are in long distance relationships, this is confirming that that's the relationship we're talking about. Now, that's not going to be true for all of you guys. So the anchor. This is a really good card in the Lenormand. It was originally called the Game of Hope, right? And there's 36 cards, and the 35th card here, as you can see, is Anchor. And the goal was to get to the 35th card before getting to the 36th card, which is the Cross. All right, and so the Anchor is not only associated with being, being really... I want to say grounded, being faithful and loyal, sticking around, that kind of thing. But it's also associated with hope because of that. All right. So you've got a lot of hope coming. You've got grounding and all of that. Yet you have a ship, right? It's interesting how they go together. I think it's a lot like, what we're seeing in the first sets of cards is that you guys go together. There's just this thing about you, and it's hard to put to words. Maybe you shouldn't even try, because it might cheapen it to try to put it to words. But yeah, we've got a longing, okay? Somebody's longing for you. For some of you guys, this person is going to take a trip to see you, okay? But that's not all of you guys, okay? But this can definitely talk about trips. It can also talk about exchanging money sometimes. But since we're doing a love reading, I don't think that's going to apply to most of you guys. But I felt like I needed to say that. So for some of you, it will. Mostly this is, when we've got the ship moves slowly. And it moves a long distance, okay? So we're talking about a longing. We're talking about slow and steady movement, but movement forward for sure. And sometimes this can represent a culture clash, Clash might not be the best word, but a culture blend. So, this could represent a foreigner or represent somebody who's a little bit different from you in maybe the way they think or their religion or something like that, okay? So the frog, this is an interesting, cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. Okay, guys. So what this is telling you is you guys have got to clean up your psyche, okay? And I know that might sound kind of weird, but you know, go within, look at, you know, what are some feelings that have been coming up a lot lately? What are some thoughts that have been reoccurring? What are the kinds of things that are going on inside of you? And you've got to ask yourself, are these helping me in my situation or hurting me in my situation right now? Because this is showing me that there's something inside of you that might be blocking you know, parts of your love life right now. And I mean, that's okay. We all have that stuff, okay? So don't worry about it, you know? But it's just saying now would be a good time to kind of clear the air, you know? And when we talk about releasing emotional baggage, for some of you guys, you've been carrying your heart around with you for a really long time, and your person doesn't even know how you feel. So, part of this is actually instructing you to maybe come forward and say a little, you know, something here and there, you know. It doesn't even have to be major. It can just be, instead of saying, I like you, or I love you, or whatever, you can just say, I really like your idea about that, or I love the way you look today, you know, or whatever like that. That way you're not letting it get clogged up, but you're also telling the person that you like them and that you love them without saying it directly. Now, those of you who like to direct, go ahead and go that route, okay? That would be the route that I'd personally go. But I do understand that some people, you know, really need to kind of let it just kind of trickle out first, you know? So this is great. I mean, really, this is a really great reading. I wish that I got this reading. Is actually, you know, it's that good. All right, hi. Those of you who picked the fourth pile or the white opalite, here's your reading. We have the Seven of Cups. We've got the Eight of Swords, and we've got the World. So we also have the Child and the Key. We have Sorceress, and I just want to go ahead and let you know what that means. You're a magical person who can manifest your clear intentions into reality. So this is a lot like the Magician card, okay? Manifesting. And we have the Serpent, which is knowledge and healing, okay? So, looks like you've got a lot of options here. A lot of emotional options. A lot of options that you know, it's like decision time, okay? So in your relationship, you've got a decision to make. Don't let yourself get too caught up in all of the details. Don't focus on the circular logic. This is more about taking action rather than it is about, you know, oh gosh, I've got to make the right choice, or oh gosh, you know, all this stuff. And I'm not trying to dismiss or invalidate how much of a big deal your relationship is to you. Please don't you know, please don't think that. I'm just saying that it doesn't really matter as much what you do as much as you just trust in the relationship itself, that it is going to come together, okay? And when I say trust in the relationship itself, I'm not talking about trusting in the other person. I'm not talking about even trusting in yourself. Just trusting that that living being that's in between the two of you, that relationship, is going to lead you to a place of happiness. Now, you might not see this place of happiness by the end of the week, but you are still moving towards that. And it does look like some kind of decision does need to be made this week. It might be a difficult decision to make, but it, you know, you'll get there. And then we've got the Sorceress energy, which is a lot like the Magician, and it's just reiterating that you are manifesting something, okay? You are in the energy right now where you're making things happen the way that you want them to, okay? So be very careful, all right, about the way that you go about thinking about your situation, the way that you go about voicing it and everything. Of course, we want to make sure that we're manifesting what we truly want, okay? But also know that if you go after something this week, you're most likely going to get it. And this is in love, okay? In love and relationships, okay? So we've got knowledge and healing. I think that there's something about this particular decision here that is going to be healed by revealing some of the thoughts that you've been having lately about the relationship. And really understand that I'm talking about thoughts, like ideas, not about emotions. So I'm not saying, you know, gosh, I've been feeling really anxious lately. That's not what I mean. It's like, you know, I've been thinking a lot about how I haven't been consistent with you, and I want to work on that. You know, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about with sharing knowledge. You know, it doesn't matter if it's about you or about your person. It's just like that. Now, those of you who are single right now and are watching this, I do want to say right now you're manifesting somebody that's going to be coming into your life soon. I know it feels like you've been stuck lately, but you're bringing it, okay? And one of the reasons why you haven't gotten it yet is just because you have been doing a lot of work on yourself. Whether you, whether it feels that way or not, you have been doing a lot of work there. And again, we've got some options, we've got some decisions to make, okay? So the Lenormand, I really like this. We've got the child, which represents something new, okay? It could represent a literal child between you and your person if you have children. And we have the key. So the key in Lenormand talks a lot about the answer. It talks a lot about what brings about something that is going to be really positive for whatever situation we're asking about, okay? So we have something new being the key or a child being the key, all right? And so if you have children, pay attention to some of the things they're saying and doing this week, and know that there's going to be something that they do or say that has some kind of effect on your relationship, okay? And this even goes for people who don't have children. If you're around children at any time this week, just, you know, kind of pay attention. And for those of you who don't, just know that this is just representative of something new. It could also represent you giving birth to what you're manifesting right now, and the same for everybody, actually. You know, whatever you're manifesting right now, this can represent giving birth to that. It's the key. It's going to be good. It's going to help. It's going to solve the problem. It's going to unlock the situation. It's going to get you unstuck from this possible prison that's been created around you due to maybe negative thinking and stuff like that. Okay, guys? All right, so you've got an interesting week coming up. All right, hi, those of you who picked the blue Lapis Lazuli, here is your reading. We have the Nine of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Knight of Swords, okay? We have the Sun and the Dog. We have Expect a Miracle. Okay, and then we have the Deer, which represents gentleness and diplomacy. So here's the deal. This is... Sometimes I get these readings that are just so easy for me to get, you know, it's like, oh, I know exactly what's going on. That's the kind of thing that's going on right now. Where I'm getting for the group that picked this, now, you know, not all of you are going to resonate with this part, but just keep watching, because I'm going to clarify a little bit. Most of you guys are probably in a situation where either you have a friend or you are interested in somebody who hasn't really given you much feedback, you know? You just know this person makes you feel really good. We've got the Sun. And you just know that it's like this, it feels right, okay? Now, those of you who aren't, you know, aren't thinking about a friend or a, you know, somebody that you've, you know, not gotten much feedback, you know, those of you who are already partnered up, or those of you who are totally single and don't have anybody that you're even thinking about, you know, what we're talking about here is either the friendship in your relationship, the friendship aspect of it, and those of us who've been married for a really long time know exactly what that means, you know, and for those of you who are single, just know that you might be experiencing this with somebody that you don't realize has feelings for you, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, that said, everything's really lined up for success this week for you guys, okay? You know, the Nine of Wands guy, he's got a bandage on his head, so he's been hurt a little bit. He's probably been hurt by his thoughts, okay? And he's got everything lined up, though. He knows what he wants, and he knows what he needs to do to get it. And the Six of Wands is letting us know that he is going to be successful. This is a success card, okay? This can represent either you or your person. I know that I said he. I was talking about the character on the card. I'm not talking about the viewers, you know? So you can be that person whether or not, no matter what gender you are. We have the Knight of Swords, and this is letting us know, just like this one, you know, not only are we talking about victory, but we also have this like urgency to communicate with one another, okay? So you're going to be wanting to communicate, all right? I feel like this represents your person more often, or for most of you, okay? More often than not, this is going to be your person, not yourself. So do understand that this week, if you get a call or a text or an email or whatever from somebody that you're interested in, understand that to them it might be so small, okay, but to them it's really important. It's really urgent. Look at this guy. Oh my gosh, it's really, really urgent. They really want to make sure they communicate this with you. So treat it that way, okay? Expect a miracle. I love the word miracle because a lot of people see it as a spontaneous thing that just automatically comes up and it's like, oh wow, everything's worked out, right? Now, I mean, I'm not trying to cheapen the way that people experience miracles at all, but what I've noticed is experiencing miracles is more about bringing your conscious into a place where you actually believe that something that you believed before couldn't happen, now you're believing that it can. And what do you know? As soon as you change that attitude, it happens. Okay, so this week is gonna bring some really, really cool changes that maybe you wouldn't have believed if I told you, you know? It's like if somebody told you last week that this was going to happen, whatever's going to happen this week, you might not believe them at all. In fact, you might not even believe them today, right? But sometime over the next 7 days, there's going to be something that's like, oh, it's going to happen, right? Okay, and going back to what I was saying at the very beginning, you know, we have the sun and we have the dog, okay? So the dog tends to represent friendship, but it can also represent loyalty, and it can also represent steadfastness. It's somebody who's guarding you, that kind of thing as well. But what I want to focus on here is the sun, because the sun is the main card, and we're talking about success, okay? Success, we're talking about victory, we're talking about this person's like, oh, I got to tell you something, and we've got the miracle. I mean, this is just set up for somebody moving forward and telling you how they're feeling, okay? So this is really, really positive. And so with the deer, we've got gentleness and diplomacy. You might be feeling a little bit afraid when you experience this, you know, like the deer in the headlights kind of thing. And you might kind of go into observer mode. I've noticed with deer are my spirit animals. Okay, so I feel like I have some kind of like authority to speak about deer. Which is kind of funny, but you'll notice that when you observe a deer, if you get the chance to, up close especially, they are so watchful and so observant. It's so amazing to just watch them take in their environment. Okay, so what you're going to be feeling this week is to be like, you really want to take it all in. So they're also cautious, so you know you're going to be very careful about this stuff. And like I said, the deer in the headlights, it might kind of scare you if your person comes forward and they're that kind of overwhelming and everything. Another thing about a deer, though, is that it is very nurturing and very gentle with its fawns, okay? So another thing is that this week, take a gentle approach when it comes to love, okay? You guys... You guys have the best reading. I love this. I thought one before yours was the best, but this one's definitely better. You guys are going to have a great week. Alrighty. Hi, those of you who picked the 6th pile, the Bloodstone, here is your reading. We have the 6 of Swords, the Star, the 10 of Cups, I like to call that the Happily Ever After card. We have the fish, okay, and that's represented by, that's modified by the cross. We have purification, okay, and we have the owl. Okay, gosh. So, the thing that really strikes me about your reading here is that it's a little contradictory. And so I'm just going to tell you exactly what I'm getting, and hope that you guys that pick this pile will understand what I'm talking about, because, I mean, I'm getting a story, it just doesn't make sense, okay? But hopefully it'll make sense to you. So we have somebody who is very like this. I believe that this represents your person. It could represent you, but I believe for most of you guys it represents your person. We've got somebody who's extremely intelligent, somebody who's very oh, like book smart, you know, rather than street smart, probably, most likely. But somebody who also is capable of great deception as well, okay? And it's because they're not as attached to their heart. Maybe they're more thinking oriented just in general, and that's it. But it's like they can be very deceptive, okay? So we have this person in a boat with the swords that's kind of like trying to get away. Okay, so we have a situation where we're trying to get away from the headspace and bring ourselves into this instinctual level where we just kind of feel out intuitively and with our hearts which way to go forward, because that's the direction you're supposed to be going in. Make sure that you are using your heart and only your heart this week when you're looking at love. And if your person can't meet you there, that might be a sign that's not such a great sign. But I do feel, because these two cards are very, very positive, and this one is positive action, I do feel like it's going to be a more positive situation than a negative situation for most of you. When we have purification, we're talking about getting rid of things that are toxic, okay? So if you're in a toxic relationship, this is a time to get out of it. I mean, it's always a time to get out of a toxic relationship, okay? And just giving my disclaimer that when I see certain things, you know, if you are in an abusive situation, if you don't know what an abusive situation means, go ahead and look it up. There's plenty of resources on the internet about it. Emotional, physical, sexual, you know, psychological, in any way, get out of your relationship, okay? That's not cool. That's not cool at all, right? Now that I gave that disclaimer, you know, we have a purification this week. So that's either you getting rid of something that's unpleasant, that's no longer working for you, or you getting rid of an aspect of the relationship that's no longer working for you. And that aspect is this here. You know, the wisdom, the knowledge, the smart, you know, the intelligence is not the problem. It's the deception. It's or it's the negativity that can come with that, okay? The deception, it might have to do with the heart. It might have to do with how they feel. Like they genuinely don't know, because they're so in their head that they can't even like bring themselves to get into their heart space to know how they feel. So it's self-deception rather than actual like lying to you, okay? We also have the fish modified by the cross. You know, some weeks just aren't as good as others. Even though you have the happily ever after card and the star, which is all about hope, you know, we also have a burden that's coming from either a group of people, okay, or a burden that actually is coming from money. You know, the fish represent things that come in clumps, so it's typically representative of money or a paycheck, right? And like I said, it could be a group. Another thing that it represents is abundance, just in general, abundance. And like we said at the very beginning, you know, we've got this character that's very intelligent, and it could be that the abundance of intelligence is the burden, okay? Typically the cross is representing something that's burdensome, and that's the way I feel that it's supposed to be represented in this particular spread. I do want to say, for those few of you that it does apply to, this can also mean spiritual abundance, okay? So I do want to make sure you guys know that there's an alternate meaning there, but for most of you, that's not going to apply. All right, guys, the best thing I can tell you is to just be aware of what works. If you're feeling like something's off, then something probably is. And make sure you're getting rid of anything that is harmful to you, okay? Make sure you bring in things that are helpful, positive forces in your life, and all of that good stuff. Just because you might be with somebody or interested in somebody who is very thinking-oriented does not mean that they're a bad person. Just know that it comes with its own struggles, okay? I have been with a thinking-oriented person for the last 15 years, and I love it, okay? It's wonderful. It's great. I like that I don't have to deal with a whole lot of emotions. But I know that especially when you're just starting out in a relationship, or when you're really interested in somebody and everything, you want to get that warmth from that person too. So I do understand that. I'm not trying to say, that it's better not to feel, because it's not. I understand that as well. All right, guys. So, look to next week for seeing how your situation's changed, okay? All right, so thank you guys so much for watching until the end of my video. I really appreciate it. Like I said before, this channel's growing, and I'm just so excited about it. I'm really, really glad that I'm able to share my gift with you guys, and I just love the feedback that I'm getting. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. I'm currently working on some new ideas for content, so do understand that I've got some new stuff coming. And I will see you on my next video.